Why Rodrygo is in the perfect place to reach his full potential. Hello everyone, this is FBB, and today we're talking about Rodrygo goes. Right now, Rodrygo is making headlines everywhere, and I'm not going to be an exception. The Brazilian forward has been a hot topic in the media, and for good reason. However, the angle of this video is going to be a little different. Of course, we'll discuss the concerns people had about him at the start of the season, and we'll break down his current situation. But more importantly, I want to focus on a key idea: Real Madrid is the perfect club for his development, despite what many believed at the beginning of the season. This is an interesting discussion, because I've talked about Rodrygo's progress before. Unlike Vinicius Jr., whose rise was more of an explosion, Rodrygo's growth has been steadier and more structured. And that's not the only difference between the two Brazilians. While they are often compared, there's one major distinction: Vinicius Jr. did not have the right environment to develop at Real Madrid. From the very beginning, he was heavily criticized and put under immense pressure. Meanwhile, Rodrygo has been able to grow in a much healthier, more stable environment, giving him everything he needs to succeed. To wrap up the video, we'll also discuss his future and where he could be heading next in his career. So sit back, relax, and welcome to another video. Concerns about his role at the start of the season. With Bellingham, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. in the squad, it was natural to worry about where Rodrygo would fit into Real Madrid's plans. Mbappe was the club's marquee signing, the superstar acquisition, expected to be the face of the team this season, a generational talent and one of the best players in the world. Vinicius Jr., on the other hand, was already the team's undisputed key player. Many even argued that he was worthy of the Ballon d'Or, or at least very close to winning one. His place in the starting lineup was unquestionable. Then there was Bellingham, the young Englishman who had completely won over Madridistas in his first season. He was named La Liga's best player, ahead of Vinicius, which speaks volumes about his impact. So if you tried to fit these three players into the starting sheet, there were a few tactical options. Bellingham could drop into midfield, making space for another attacker. But there was also a very real scenario where Rodrygo would be the odd man out. Many feared that Rodrygo would be pushed aside, even when he started games. There was a growing belief that he could become expendable, leading to speculation about a potential transfer. And to be fair, October was a tough month for him. Against Osasuna, Madrid lined up with a Vinicius-Hendrick attacking duo, leaving Rodrygo on the bench. Then, against Villarreal, it was a Vinicius-Mbappe pairing, still no Rodrygo. Finally, against Celta Vigo, Madrid played with Mbappe up front, supported by Vinicius and Bellingham, further limiting Rodrygo's role. Later, after El Clasico, Ancelotti even experimented with a different system, favoring Brahim Diaz over Rodrygo. Diaz, who had been patiently waiting for opportunities, occasionally earned Ancelotti's preference due to specific tactical needs. So, there were definitely moments in the season when it seemed like Rodrygo's future at Real Madrid was uncertain. But if you look at the current situation, it's clear that the narrative has completely changed. Rodrygo is far from being sidelined at Real Madrid. Why? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. Rodrygo has already played 1,700 minutes this season, which is a significant amount of game time. While he may not be at the very top in terms of minutes played, it's important to note that he missed a few games in November due to minor injuries. Looking at his overall involvement, he has featured in 27 out of 33 possible matches. He has started 20 out of 32 games. These stats confirm that Rodrygo is an essential part of Real Madrid's squad. Rodrygo's absence has been felt. What's also telling is that when Rodrygo hasn't played, Madrid has struggled at times. Take the match against AC Milan. His presence on the right flank could have added much-needed balance to the team. Or look at the game against Celta Vigo. Madrid eventually won 5-2, but the game went into extra time, proving that the team wasn't quite as fluid without him. Everything is going right for Rodrygo. Right now, everything seems to be falling into place for him. Even with Kylian Mbappe hitting top form, Rodrygo remains a crucial piece of the puzzle. In fact, as I pointed out in my recent video on Mbappe, One of the key aspects of his resurgence has been his strong chemistry with Rodrygo. The two complement each other perfectly, making the attack even more dangerous. Beyond just link-up play, Rodrygo delivers in big games. His performances this season and even in previous seasons have proven that he is built for high-stakes moments. Even Carlo Ancelotti has publicly praised him in press conferences, while Ancelotti has emphasized the need for defensive balance, suggesting that at times an attacker may need to be sacrificed. Rodrygo seems safe. This Real Madrid squad is growing in maturity, becoming more aware of its strengths and weaknesses. There's no perfect system, but right now Rodrygo is too important to be left out. And that brings us to the real reason I wanted to make this video. A situation full of positives for Rodrygo. I truly believe Real Madrid is the perfect place for him to grow. Yes, he doesn't play every single minute. He gets subbed off occasionally, and he's been rested at times. But that's not a bad thing, especially for a player who has dealt with minor injuries. Why limited minutes can be beneficial. Most top players want to start every game, stay on the pitch as much as possible, and boost their stats. That's become the standard in modern football. If you're a star, you play everything. But sometimes that can backfire. Rodrygo's current role allows him to avoid burnout in a physically demanding team that competes in every competition, stay fresh without the wear and tear that can lead to long-term injuries, still be a key player without the extreme workload that other stars face. It's a perfect balance. He has a top role at Madrid without falling into the trap of overexertion, which has plagued many other players. A more favorable media spotlight. Another major advantage for Rodrygo, he's not under the same intense media pressure as some of his teammates. Look at Vinicius Jr. He was thrown into the spotlight immediately at Real Madrid. Critics were brutal, and he had to overcome massive scrutiny before proving himself. Luckily, Vinicius had the mental strength to handle it, but not every player can. Rodrygo's situation is different. He's respected, talked about, and recognized, but he's not Madrid's primary media focus. If Real Madrid struggles, he won't be the scapegoat. Stars like Vinicius, Mbappe, and Bellingham will always take the most heat from fans and media. Rodrygo, on the other hand, can develop in a much more stable and pressure-free environment. Still growing at 24, and that's okay. Some might say, Rodrygo is 24, shouldn't he already be at his peak instead of still growing? To that, I say, 24 is still young. We've gotten so used to wonder kids breaking out early, Mbappe, Bellingham, etc., that we forget football careers don't end at 25. Rodrygo isn't stuck waiting for a breakthrough. He's already an established starter at Real Madrid. He's not sitting on the bench in a mid-table club, waiting for a transfer. He's playing at the highest level, refining his skills in an elite environment. How Rodrygo is evolving at Real Madrid. Another reason why this is the perfect club for him. He's constantly learning and adapting. Unlike Madrid's main stars, Rodrygo doesn't always get to play in his ideal position. He's been used on the left. He's been used on the right. He's played in central roles. He's been part of fluid attacking rotations. This kind of versatility will make him an even more complete player in the future. A player in the right place at the right time. Rodrygo is in an incredible situation. He's not overworked like some superstars. He gets praise when he performs well. He's developing new skills in multiple positions. He's still one of Brazil's most important internationals. At the start of the season, his future at Real Madrid seemed uncertain. Now, he's thriving. Which brings us to his future, a bright future at Real Madrid. Rodrygo's future is already secured at Real Madrid, with his contract running until 2028. The only real question, his salary. Right now, Rodrygo earns significantly less than Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Bellingham, almost half in comparison. That might not bother him now, but at some point, it could become an issue. Could Rodrygo become even more important? There are ongoing rumors that Saudi clubs are preparing a massive offer for Vinicius Jr. in the future. If that ever happens, Rodrygo's role at Madrid would grow even bigger. But even without that scenario, his situation at Madrid is far from a problem. The club is still working on fixing its defensive weaknesses, meaning Rodrygo's role in attack could become even more prominent. As Real Madrid develops more tactical stability, Rodrygo could see even more freedom in his positioning and playstyle. Could he leave? Of course, Rodrygo could leave at any point if he wanted to. That's not something Madrid fans want to hear. But there are clear precedents for players making that decision. Neymar left Barcelona after growing tired of being in Messi's shadow. Though his PSG move didn't bring the success he expected, Julian Alvarez left Manchester City to escape their crowded attack and joined Atletico Madrid, where he has now thrived. Mbappe himself is leaving PSG at a similar age for Madrid. So, if Rodrygo ever decides he wants to be the main man at another club, 25 or 26 is not too late to make that move. A steady and successful progression. Rodrygo's growth at Real Madrid hasn't been explosive like Vinicius Jr. or Bellingham. It's been steadier, more gradual. But that doesn't mean he's any less important. He has always found a way to shine despite the competition. He has continued to improve his game in different tactical roles. He remains a key part of Real Madrid's present and future. Final thoughts: is Real Madrid the perfect club for Rodrygo? Some might say yes, because he has a top role in one of the biggest clubs in the world, the freedom to develop without overwhelming pressure, the ability to shine in big moments while continuing to grow. Others might argue that he could achieve even more elsewhere. What do you think? Is Madrid the best place for Rodrygo, or should he move on in the future? Let me know in the comments. Enjoy your football week and see you in the next video.